Okay. What's going on, guys? Ali here, back again with another Fire Force review for you today for Season 2, Episode 10. I'm going to have my cup of coffee right here because, I don't know, I just need it. But, first of all, I love the episode. Loved everything about, like, the woman in black helping out Shinra and everything. Then Shinra using the beyond light speed type of thing. Because when he was talking about how, like, when he goes beyond light speed, he starts to revert, like, time, being that, like, his body that turns into particles is able to go back to normal because of that ability and everything. So that was just insane. Then we saw the Tempei's backstory, which seemed crazy in and of itself, that because of the great cataclysm, everything was destroyed and whatnot, you know, and he was left without his wife, without his daughter, without his wealth, without his wealth in general, and his property and everything was just destroyed. And like, just to see these types of things and these types of situations with these characters, like in their story, like Tempei's story, it's reminding me of actually a few religious stories that I've heard about and whatnot, that like a man who has everything all of a sudden loses everything because of his arrogance and whatnot. Like there's a few stories that are like that within religions and stuff like that, that like this one person had nothing while this person had everything, and the person that had everything, all of his stuff was destroyed in general, while this man who pretty much didn't have anything was grateful for just being there and whatnot. And obviously it was just one person. They're just talking about Tempei in the series. But stories like that are really pronounced like throughout time, like a lot, which is really crazy to like really see it within an anime series and everything. And then him being able to get to the spatial rift, but how did he know about the spatial rift? And then when he got to see this episode, even though it was just awesome and such, and there was a lot of answers that we learned about, like the woman in black being that, like, obviously I knew that she had to be something similar to Shinra, and she said that she was a human and that she was exposed to the evangelists, like, insects. So, like, all of those insects come from the evangelist. Like, she has those insects and whatnot. And we find out about what the evangelist is really trying to do. Like, the woman in black saying, like, I was just a person that the evangelist gave that, like, insect or those powers and whatever, like, on a whim and whatnot. So, she's kind of burning in a Dola burst. But then also she's able to give grace, like grace to Shinra. So will Shinra be able to give his own grace to people? And did the evangelist turn out to be like, was she actually a human also or something? And they also talked about how the evangelist, like the woman in black is talking about the evangelist being like, she like is referred to as like a god or whatever. And like then she starts talking about like various religions throughout the world and such, that like all have the similarity of there being God and a devil, or a god and devils or whatever. And I'm like, that's kind of true in a sense, that religions in general, at the very least, have good and evil in them in general. So, like, that was very interesting to really hear the woman in black talking about this stuff, that maybe the evangelist, since day one of, like, humanity in general, has been manipulating behind history about like manipulating behind history, being behind of like humanity creating religions. Like, it's a lot. It was a lot to take in. Like, we got answers of who the woman in black is and everything, that she was human. And I could really figure that out already, that she was human, obviously. And like she took it upon herself to like open up the tabernacle and become its source of energy for centuries, so that she can help bring life back into that world that the evangelist is just trying to destroy in general. And like when the evangelist was looking at Tempe before she turned Tempe into a demon infernal and whatnot, like you see when she opens her mouth, you see galaxies in her mouth. Like, is she kind of like Galactus from Marvel or something? Like she eats worlds or something, like destroying those worlds and whatnot in flames. Is that how she consumes them or something? And I'm like, who is this lady? Like, she, first of all, she looks really tall and everything, and she's manipulating like pretending like manipulating that she is a god or something like that. And Shinra's like, God my eye, saying that like, no way is she or whatever. And like there's some stuff that's happening behind the Holy Soul Temple and everything, and that whole thing with the Amaterasu, that the first pillar is in that place. And like Shinra has a dream of seeing her again, the first pillar, and like it looked like she was crying and everything. And like, here's my thing, we got to see Tempe's backstory, right? We got to see Shinra just kicking ass and everything with his light speed ability and whatnot, getting grace from the woman in black. We see the backstory of the woman in black, which was great, because honestly, she's one of my favorite characters already of the entire series and everything. But she might have just like, when Shinra said she went to sleep, she probably was put to rest, like she passed away or something, maybe. I don't know, but she used to be human. But at the same time, she's been there way over 200 years trying to help create and revitalize the earth by actually end up making like this massive force and everything. And then like, so we got her backstory, what she did, and that she was only like, she was like, the evangelist giving her powers was just on a whim or whatever, and brought her along past the spatial rift. And then she decided to go against what the evangelist was doing, like bringing complete calamity and destruction to the planet, to Earth itself, by trying to open up the tabernacle, but first like helping all of these animals and everything that were suffering and whatnot. Like I thought the woman in black was going to start crying or something, because of everything that like she was just thrown there on a whim by the evangelist. So then she took it upon herself to help all these animals and then start up the tabernacle again to like help revitalize the earth and the soil and whatever. And then that turned out like she created a gigantic massive forest around it and everything, and she's been burning for 200 plus years, like burning her energy through an Adola burst and everything. And like just hearing about all that and hearing about Tempe's backstory and stuff, which I don't really feel too sad about his story at all, because he sounded like an actual very arrogant type of person and everything. Like he hates the cataclysm and everything, and just like because it took away his wealth and property and everything, and took away his women, like his wife and his daughter and stuff. So like he just flat out hates the great cataclysm and stuff. And then the evangelist comes and gives him a bug, and he turns into a demon infernal right there. And then he's saying it hurts, it burns, it's painful, it feels magnificent, which I'm like, I'm just looking at him like, what? It's ridiculous. So we got to learn a lot about these things, but then also more questions being told, like the evangelist, was the evangelist originally a human or something? Why are there galaxies in her mouth? Like, does she eat like worlds, different worlds and such? Like, what's up with her? Like, why is she so tall and everything? Like, why is she doing these things? like what is her real like serious goal in doing these things. And then all of these pillars, it makes sense that what the evangelist is doing, gathering all these pillars or creating all these pillars, like is there like several other types of like amaterasus or tabernacles around the world that they gotta go to use like the Adola bursts as sacrifices or something like that. And then like what's going on here? Like why does she have so many bugs that are able to turn people like into infernals and stuff? Where did these bugs come from, right? Where did the Avengers really came from? Like she appeared through the spatial rift when Tempeh was trying to get through the spatial rift, but he realized that like maybe humans can't get through it. But then the Evangelist comes through it, and then eventually the Woman in Black goes through. So it's like, do they have to have some sort of Adola, like involvement with Adola or whatever, and like the Evangelist itself? And also when the Evangelist looked at Tempeh's eyes didn't burn or whatever, didn't go up in flames like what happened with Burns, or what happened with like Shinra's mom when Shinra's mom turned into a demon. When she turned into a demon infernal and looked at the Evangelist, her eyes started burning. So then she put the horns on her eyes. So I'm like, does the Evangelist just have it? The Evangelist obviously isn't a god or anything. So it's like, is the Evangelist just manipulating to where, like, manipulating behind the scenes when it comes to like religion, that like there's something in religion that says that like if you even try to attempt to look at like God or whatever, that your soul will instantly leave your body. So are they trying to like, is she trying to interpret that kind of in her own way, and that like when somebody looks at her, the Evangelist uses some kind of power that starts like burning the person's eyes or something like that, and that's like what's going on there? I don't know. Like a lot of questions, man. There's like, I keep taking a sip, but like there's a lot of questions. Some things were answered. Tempeh's backstory, the Woman in Black, and her reasoning of what's going on. That like she doesn't think that the Avengers should be like doing this stuff, so she took it upon herself to help what's going on with that world. She came through the rift specifically to help revitalize the earth and that world and everything, because the Evangelist is hell bent on destroying the planet. Like, is there really a reason? And then like she opened her mouth and there's galaxies and planets and shit. I'm like, this woman is like Galactus from Marvel Comics, like literally Galactus. So I'm just wondering like, what's going on? Like this, so many questions. Like this is crazy. Like I don't know. This was a crazy episode. It was amazing to see Shinra go into his light speed form, which was just so good, and putting that Tempeh to rest, because there was absolutely no way of saving Tempeh at all from obviously being a demon, but also seeing his backstory and that he wasn't necessarily like a really good guy and whatnot, and like seeing that the Evangelist might have been like manipulating things behind the scenes in the entirety of human history about like religion and stuff, and that's why there's so many religions that in essence are obviously like different. A lot of them, like majority of all of them, or actually all of them, are like vastly different, but the similarity of like God and devils and whatnot are there in essence or whatever. So it's very interesting in this world, in this series and whatnot. Like this series like world, it's very intriguing, very interesting, very weird too. Things coming out of nowhere, and it's crazy. It's getting insane. Like it really is getting insane. And then like at the end of the episode, you know, seeing Shinra talking to Scop, being like, hey, you know, there are things that you can do and things that you can't do. There's just no two ways about it and whatnot. And Scop said, because Scop was saying that like he didn't do anything, he feels so weak and stuff, and it's true what Shinra says. Like, you know, there are things you can do and things you can't do. It's just the way of life, you know? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for help when it comes to these things. And in that essence, you know, asking for help takes a certain type of their own courage and whatnot. So that was a really cool sentiment that Shinra gave Scop and everything. And then Scop saying, like, I'm going to dig a million holes or 1,000 holes and get stronger. And if I won't get stronger, then I'll ask for your help, okay? So that was pretty cool. And then everybody was able to go back to the Tokyo Empire and everything. So seems like the Holy Soul Temple is hiding a lot of stuff, just like what Leaked said and everything. And yeah, And Shinra's starting to, like, you know, doubt a little bit in his mind about what's going on and stuff. So a lot of questions in this damn series that, like, still need to be answered, and even more questions that are being shown that don't have answers to. So many questions that need to be answered and such. Oh man, but yeah, next episode seems like it's going to be based around Leaked and Benimaru and Joker chilling out together on top of a roof somewhere, which seems like very cool and everything. So that's going to be a fun episode, and hopefully like a fun arc between those three guys. So yeah, and I'm ready for it. And that was the end of the episode with everybody going back to the Tokyo Empire. Great episode. But what do you guys think about this episode? Leave down in the comments your thoughts about it and everything. Your thoughts about like what I said and what's going on with the series. Like it's a wild ride and everything. But yeah, leave down in the comments your thoughts about the episode, thoughts about what I said. Like this video if you did. Like the video if you liked anything I had to say. Like the video if you liked the episode in general. And subscribe to the channel for more reviews, vlogs, unboxings, live reactions, and theory discussion videos, and things like that. So gentlemen, stay classy, ladies, stay sassy, but most important, everybody, you guys stay a little nasty, alright? So peace and love, and I will see y'all later in the next video. Peace out. May the force be with you always, and plus ultra lato.